go back out. It'll be amazing. All right, we are here. We are back, and technology sucks. Let me just tell you, we're going to start this morning with crappy technology because we try to go live on all kinds of platforms this morning. It just dropped. But the good thing is we can get back into our recording and start it again. So I am so grateful to have Lindsay Breaker with us this morning. We are diving into females, phenomenal, badass women, but how to educate them and help on financial literacy because we understand there's a big shortfall going into the real estate industry. So good morning, Lindsay. How are you again? Part 3.
Great.
Look, sometimes we just got to go with the flow, and we're just doing what we can for sure.
Yeah, that's okay.
So tell me a little bit, Lindsay, why you kind of have this passion and niche for, females and badasses and just financial literacy into real estate.
Well, let's start with the fact of I feel like our world in one is still kind of set on the mindset that like men can only do everything, right? We are totally not in that same era anymore. And I need women to realize like, put your foot down, stand up for yourself, and push through. Show people how educated you are and how smart you are, and that you can tackle anything that comes your way. I'm a single mom of a 5-year-old little girl, and I strive off the fact that I want her to know that she can do anything that she puts her mind to, no matter what it is. And so that is why now I wake up every morning and I bust my tail, because I'd never want her to see me fail and be like, oh, well, mom, you couldn't do it. Well, no, there are hard days. I mean, there are hard days, right? And in this real estate industry, it was predominantly men at one point. Now it's not.
It's not.
The women are taking over, baby. The women are taking over. So I love it. You know, you still are going to come in contact with agents who don't take you serious. And when you educate yourself and you know the ins and outs, it really like surfaces and they realize like, oh, wow, she actually knows what she's talking about. She's really good at her job. And so I want everyone to feel that way, right? I'm the realtor that if I feel like I'm talking to someone who might not know as much as I do, or hasn't maybe reached that point, I want to share what I know. I'm not out here to, we're not sharks and minnows. I want you to grow just as much as I'm growing. Like, we should tackle this together.
Yeah.
So I just want more women to realize no matter what industry you're in, you're capable of doing it. Running a restaurant, being a CEO of a big company, running your own business. They all align with each other and you can all be badass.
I love that. Oh my gosh. And this is why I want a badass woman on here, because she's legit badass, y'all. She knows her confidence, and that's exactly what we're kind of talking about today. So on the other side, if you're a buyer, how do we help educate on that financial literacy and the confidence to go in to buying a home?
So one, I think that all of my buyers that have ever come to me, so I work a lot with first-time buyers who walk in and have no idea where to start. First off, we need to get you with a lender. We need to see where your finances are. Are you walking in and have zero money to your name? Are you walking in and have been saving to buy a house for 5 years, 10 years, Or is someone else buying you a home and going to be on it with you until you can afford it yourself? So walking into that, that's always my first question is, have you talked to a lender? What do you think you want to spend a month? Then when we go into that, I'm able to go to you, or maybe they have a lender that they've already kind of talked with. And I have some education on that, right? First off, you should always have an emergency fund when you're buying a house. You should be able to have enough money saved that if you were to lose your job the month that you move into your house, you have enough money that you're going to be able to survive, right? because if not, then you're SOL. You know, it's not only, I don't want people to be house poor. I don't. You should never be house poor. If you cannot afford it, then I don't want you to get in it. I would rather us work up our way to getting you to where you can financially take care of yourself at your own manageable limits, right? So, first step is always getting pre-approved with the lender. What I love about you guys is that y'all are able to give them the steps that it takes if they're not ready now. You know, you and I have encountered a few that are ready, or they moved here and have no idea what it's like to live in Texas and they're from a whole different state, and how taxes can be pricey, or people who are self-employed. Self-employees do not know what they need. Nail techs, servers. I have tons of girlfriends that are like, hey, I'm a server and I've been a server for 15 years and have enough money, but they don't follow their taxes that way. So you can't buy a house. So first step is always getting pre-approved by a lender. I will not show a house if you are not pre-approved. I do not want us shopping in the 500 range when you can't afford that and we get pre-approved for 250,000.
Right.
That is a huge gap. I do not want you to fall in love with something that you can't get.
Yeah.
I don't like filling my clients' glasses with empty hopes. I truly do not.
And that's a big kind of flaw, and I see that a lot. That we'll go show you a couple of houses, and then talk to the lender, and they fall in love with the home, and then it's like, oh, how do we backtrack into falling in love with this home, and we don't actually qualify for it. So, very big right now.
Yeah. And also, it's knowing your clients, right? So, knowing if they qualify for a VA loan or if they would qualify for a USDA loan, which not a lot of people know about. And they're amazing, or down payment assistance or first home buyer grants. Those are things that education is very important in knowing, because as a realtor, if I don't know it, my client's not going to know it. They're going to get screwed on the back end. And that is what I don't like. So I strive to make sure that my education is a par so I can educate my clients walking into this.
I love that. Do you think there's a practical budgeting tip or a tip for preparing to buying a house that they can plan on? Especially if you're in Texas, taxes are really high. What's going to be your first practical tip to get prepared to buy a home?
You know, the one that I've noticed the most that potential buyers didn't really think of, but I always tell them, and excuse me, this weather has got me like feeling ugh.
I'm ready for summer. It's day one out of summer, but I'm already ready for it.
No. I believe that if you can have the mindset of paying rent to yourself twice, or at least half of another rent a month on saving, you're going to be a step ahead, right? Or if you know that your rent is $1,800 right now, but your mortgage is more or less going to be $23,000, well, then start saving that other half and almost paying that for yourself, right? So you kind of get in this mindset of, okay, my mortgage is already going to be $2,350 a month, and I'm going to ride with that for the next 10 months while I live in my apartment. And then you're already kind of set in your way of like, hey, I know I have to budget for that $2,350 every month. And you're not starting out budgeting for that in 8 months when you go to buy, because it really can be hindering to people's financial capability, especially with everything being so pricey now. I don't think that we take into consideration the extra factors, right? So that extra $50 that you spend on shopping or entertainment, you should put that to the side if you are really serious about buying a home, because that's really going to matter later. But budgeting, I don't feel like people do enough of.
Mhm.
So we kind of get in this position where we're really screwed, right? Because you weren't prepared for that by any means. As a mom who's 30, I can tell you in my 20s, never even would have thought about buying a
Right.
house or budgeting for that matter. And now I'm like, wow, I wish that someone educated me a little bit more on what to save and what to do. I heard my parents always say, like, you need to have good credit, you need to do this. And me, I was like, who cares? You don't need that. No, you need that.
Mhm. You
You
do.
need that. It's
Yeah.
very important.
So those are really good tips. And, the biggest of all of that so far is if you're paying that $1,800 a month and it could potentially be 23, the good thing is when you pay 23 to yourself, you're putting the difference back into a savings account for that emergency fund that you need to go into buying a home. And that's ideal, or double it because the payment could be double. But that gets you into the mindset instead of saying, hey, it's 1,800. No, it's 2,400. And now I'm ready for it. For
Right.
sure.
Yeah.
So why do you think that buying real estate is so powerful for, just females and single moms? Because there's a lot of questions of, I can't. I've been told I can't. My husband says I'm not good enough to. So how is it and why is real estate so impactful for badass women like yourself?
Never let someone tell you no, first off.
Yes.
Ever.
Yes.
I, for a very long time, had someone tell me I wasn't capable for 12 years. And now I see so much growth in myself that it's wild, right? I could have never in a million years thought that I would be where I am right now. And so never let someone tell you no. You are capable of doing everything, right? So I think it's very important that we buy into real estate, one, because it's extra income. There are so many people that cannot buy a home, so they immediately go rent, or they're not educated enough to know that they can buy a home, so they're still renting, right? Um, Even if it's just a little piece of property and it's a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, that is better than nothing, right? You have to start out small to go big. Give yourself a $150,000 budget and go and find something that is livable, but just needs some sprucing, to where it's not something that's crazy money out of your pocket, but you're going to get it back and be able to pay that mortgage with your tenant that's going to be living there. And even if it's you buy that house and you flip it to sell it, your home is building equity.
Mhm.
I always tell people, why not invest in yourself instead of funding someone else's pocket?
Make it.
Also, why not invest in something that is making you money and going to continue to make you money than
You
buy
mean not
something?
like a 401k or an IRA? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
I always see it's so funny because right now with interest rates, right, people are still freaking out. Oh, it's a 6, it's a 7. Okay, well, you're okay paying 12% on that new car that you're going to buy. That's about
That's
to
right.
the moment you drive right off that lot.
Mhm.
You go and buy that house at 6 or 7%. In a year to 3 years, you're going to be building on your own self, and that property has now gone up in value.
Mhm.
So people don't typically understand that until I lay it out. And then I'm like, look at the interest rates on your credit card.
Credit cards are crazy. It's an appreciating asset is your home and a depreciating asset on your cars and your credit cards.
Yes. And I'm like, you guys are willing to do that with y'all just blink and say yes. When it comes to buying a house, you're like, absolutely not. I want that 2% interest rate. Well, I have news for people who do not see it. That interest rate might be lower, but the value of that home that you're about to purchase is way higher compared to other way around, right? You're still seeing everybody giving concessions and things like that. So I want more women to feel like they can go into a home, buy a home and flip it instead of it just being a man's job, right? A man, I mean, we all think of that as like, oh, only men flip homes because they know all the contractors.
I would
Well,
love to go beat some shit up. Sorry, my
yeah,
language.
right. Me too. Like I will knock the hell out of a wall in no time. No time. But I think that we have to realize that the word no should have no bearing on us anymore. It really shouldn't. You know, I believe that we can all do the same thing. We might not do it sometimes as well, depending on what it is, but you still can give it hell and do it. Stop letting people tell you no.
Yes.
You know, I had a client that recently was like, I can't get a lender to, you know, loan me anything. And I was like, let's see what's happening. Let's go back and look at the steps that we've been taking over the last 8 months. What's going on, you know? And there is somebody for everybody, right? And so, of course, the more digging I did, the more I was like, oh, you know, you just need a little bit more assistance. Then that's when we discovered USDA loans and how great they are. And I was like, hey, here you go. You want to buy a house so bad. This is what you need. We found a lender and we close on Tuesday. So it's like, put in the work where the work is needed and keep going every single day, right? Don't let the word no shut you out or cancel out anything that you think you want to do.
Yeah. And that's because there is a loan program for everybody, no matter what. And that's a big kind of hurdle that I see is they come in and they just want everything conventional, but they don't realize there's other programs for self-employed.
And it's just that's what we're used to, right? We're always used to hearing FHA and conventional, and that's all you think.
Yeah, it's so much broader than that. So what kind of challenges do you think women face in real estate if they are either going in as an agent or going as a client?
One, I think as an agent, on the agent side, I think that we probably hinder ourselves a little bit more with not going to, let's just say, the listing agent with more confidence in ourselves. If you don't have enough confidence, it is going to be heard in your voice, your how you carry yourself, all your physical manners, right? And so you have to go in there with the mindset of, I'm not going to take no for an answer, and educate yourself. If it takes a moment for you to go do some research, go do the research, you know? I think that that is a lot of what we now I see a lot of, especially in younger agents, is that we catch on to a lot of them who, once they're told no, they just shut down and that's it, right? If I'm told no, I'm going to go educate myself on why they're telling me no, first off. And if there's somewhere around that, there is always somewhere around something, right? So that on the agent side, I think we need to have more confidence and just, hey, I'm here. I'm not leaving until I'm getting my answer and what I want out of it. That is me. I will be that annoying person that I'm going to bombard you every single day and until I'm told yes. You know, I jump hurdles. I don't let one thing stop me. I have a client that I love dearly, and he is a great friend of mine. And I feel like he is trying to bury me alive. And I keep telling him that. I'm like, are you trying to bury me alive? Because you're doing a really good job. Like every time I think we've reached the end, there's one more hurdle. There's another hurdle. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to need a steak dinner after this, you know? Most people would have already given up at this point, right? They would have been like, call me in 6 months. That's another thing. Stop telling your clients to call you in 6 months when they're pre-approved.
100%.
Work with them from point A to point Z and after that.
Yeah.
You're here to build a relationship with that person. Stop making it a transaction. That's another thing that I've noticed is that a lot of agents make it a transaction. Yes, this is my job. but I also am here to help you get in a home to raise your family in, to enjoy being a divorced couple, to having a vacation home, whatever it might be. And I continue to have relationships with all of my clients after the fact, whether that's touch and base every 3 months. You have to, right? So that's another thing that I don't think that we realize that we need to do. Instead, because I feel like in a man's world, we're used to that, right? They help us do something and then they never look back again. Like,
Then they're like,
see you later. That is something that I think us women need to set our side differently, right? We are nurturers. So continue to nurture that relationship because it's going to benefit you in the end.
100%.
On the buyer side, I feel like us women get told no, and we're like, okay, never mind, I'm good. Instead of saying, no, let's do this, or are there other options? We're just easy to cower down instead of standing up for ourselves and what we actually want. So, when it comes to us sitting in an offer and asking for concession, if we're told no, well, I don't want to see my buyer just say, okay, well, never mind. I guess I'll move on to the next house. No, let's talk about this. Where can we pull from a little bit? Let's counter with them. This is part of the game.
That's your negotiation.
Yeah. I'm like, we can counter all day long. I will counter for you at 1:00 in the morning if you come up with a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we have to instill the confidence in our own clients. This is your money. This is your investment. So let's get the most out of it for you.
Dang, that's so powerful. Oh my God.
And I really think that we have to continue to give that, even throughout the entire transaction, is give that little, hey, remember, you're buying this house for you and your kids, or you're trying to be the first person in your entire family to purchase a home. It's like the saying, like, I'm the first person to go to college. Well, awesome. Let's be the first person that buys a home out of your entire parents and grandparents and extended, right? Because we're not normalizing that, and it should be normalized.
100%.
But we can all buy a home.
That's freaking amazing. Oh my gosh. There's so much just on that. That is just so powerful because I feel that on both sides, the business side and the consumer side, I think the lack of confidence is what stops any female in any industry. And when you surround yourself with Lindsay and folks like her, it just ups your game to be able to walk in and out like you can change your trajectory of, yeah, I'm ready to buy a house now. So it's about finding the agent, the lender, someone local instead of online that can help navigate, because it's not just a 30-day transaction. It could be a 10-year, 15-year transaction, 4 or 5 deep and onion layers, like I call them, because you're building today of a better tomorrow for anybody. And I appreciate that so much. So, a couple questions. How does mentorship and collaboration help in an industry that we're in right now?
That's a good one. One, I think building relationships, period, with any individual is important because you never know what's going to come of it, right? So me personally, I love meeting with different lenders, and it's funny because you guys all know one another, right? So I've already had 2 of my lenders like, oh, you're getting on the phone call with my friend. Like, yeah, I am. And we're not here to compete. We're here to help each other grow. And everyone favors differently, right? So you might find somebody that might work better with this agent than they might work with me. So I think that it's really important that you have your sphere of coworkers that we know we can send our clients to, right? Because we're here to take care of them and nurture them and make sure that they're in good hands. Also, being able to bounce knowledge off of one another. I can call you and I know that you're going to give me an answer in a heartbeat, and you're not going to sugarcoat it. And sometimes you need to have somebody that you can go to that's not going to sugarcoat something for you, or that is way more knowledgeable in that category than you are.
Right.
But I think just putting yourself out there, showing that you're confident, building these relationships, whether you guys end up working together or not, staying relevant in that person's life is important, because they're always going to think about you at some point. I now can't tell you that I haven't laughed a few times when I go get a Laffy Taffy, because I instantly think of you.
Yes.
And that's staying relevant, even if it's just like the smallest thing. Stay relevant with the people that are around you. Use them to your advantage.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're at your fingertips. They're everywhere, all over the place. Social media, go to a coffee shop, go to a restaurant, kids sporting events, go to birthday parties. I always tell people, none of us want to go to a 5-year-old's birthday party where they're all screaming and all the things, right? But now in what I do, I want to be there.
Oh yeah, I want to show up.
It takes one person to be like, oh, I've considered buying a house. Oh, I've considered selling my home. Oh, have you? Nice to meet you. My name is Lindsay Prater. I work for One West Real Estate.
Yeah, right.
Easy. Free marketing.
That's all. I don't even know where t-shirt happens. I'm like, hey. And I do that at my chair jam. I'll have that mortgage show. They're like, hey, can you ask me what I I'm like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Conversations.
Yes. I think that nowadays we all feel like we need to pay somebody to give us advice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why? It's right there. Be that person that goes out of your way to just answer a question. I'm not going to be like, hey, that's going to be $10. I don't give out free knowledge. We're all here to grow. We're all here to do the same thing, and that's make everybody happy. And if you buying a house or selling a house with me is the best part of your entire year, well, I'm so glad. I'm glad I was a part of it. I'm glad I made that transaction easy. I hear that all the time. They're like, you make it so seamless. And that is supposed to be what happens. It's not supposed to be chaos. Mm-hmm. This is one of the 3 stressful things that you will do in your entire life is buy a home, especially for the first time.
Yeah.
So no, I want to make it a breath of fresh air and so easy that you're like, I'll do that again.
And I got friends and family and coworkers.
Yeah.
Because it is a referral base. It's 100% referral base. And that's the growth part of this is you can literally change like your path and your avenue overnight if you implement the strategies that Lindsay's been talking about. And it's just so easy and dynamic. So what's the one last kind of thing you want to talk about on the consumer and a real estate side, just for those females that are not ready on the buy side, or an agent that's struggling on the sell side?
Okay. Agent on the sell side, keep pushing. Use the free social media to your advantage. Post in groups. Find groups on Facebook that you can post in. There are a million of them.
Literally.
Do outreach. Stop looking in Texas and go to California, go to New York, go to Colorado. Pinpoint the places that people are moving here from, right? So I'm in a lot of California groups because California is becoming the new Texas, right?
I've got South Dakota and Carolina.
Yeah. So use those to your advantage and don't feel like you have to pay for everything, because you don't. Also, using your broker is great, and asking them advice. Don't be afraid of your broker. If you feel like you can't talk to your broker about what's going on in your transactional life, then maybe you need to reconsider, because you should be able to freely speak with them, right? Also, use all of the networking events that there are. You guys join every title company that you can think of on their email service and go, because it's going to take you talking to one agent who just picked up a brand new buyer yesterday of saying, oh, hey, I have a listing in Midlothian that's 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,100 square foot right here by the school. And immediately they're going to be like, I have a buyer. That's all it takes. Step out of your shell, get out of your comfort zone, be vulnerable. And if someone tells you no or isn't there, well, at the end of the day, maybe reconstruct, think about what might have happened in that setting that you could have been like, maybe I could have addressed that differently, or maybe I wasn't very approachable. Now I used to be that person that just is like, I don't want to talk to anybody. And unless I come over to you and talk to you, like no one would ever come over and talk to me now. Now it's so different because I use that of, I'm going to go over there and chit chat with that table. And they're going to tell me that they've been trying to sell their house for a year with their Aunt Becky, and it's just not working for them. Well, guess what? I'm not Aunt Becky.
I'm a go-getter, and here's why. And then
and if you decide to change realtors at any point in time, you know where to find me.
I'm at the coffee shop over here with queso.
Yes, exactly, right? So that's just really important. Stay confident, have confidence. If you don't, people can see right through that. Keep telling your clients, hey, we're kind of in a stale market. I've got 3 listings that just keep sitting that should have already flown off the shelf like that. But it's just what we're in, right? Give it another month and then we'll be good.
So on the buy side.
On the buyer side.
One pendulum.
Just jump. Just do it.
I literally was about to say that.
Jump.
Yes.
Take that jump. Head first. Just go. Because if you don't, you're never going to. And I will come push you just so we can do it.
And I'm going to catch you, so it's fine.
Yes. I have clients that probably would have never thought about it. And I'm like, I'm not giving you a choice. I already set up a call with a lender. Here we go. We're getting on a call tonight at 6:30 and let's see where you are. And then at the end, they're like, oh, I'm so glad that you made me do that. Now I'm so glad that we can start the process. That is what I'm here for. So as a buyer, just jump. Stop waiting. Nothing's ever going to change. So just go. Be told no and say, okay, what do I need to do to be able to buy?
100%. Don't fear the uncertainty. Just jump, like Lindsay says. And oh my gosh, this is so impactful. Lindsay has been phenomenal about all things and everything. Lindsay, how does someone get a hold of you if they want to have those connection conversations?
You guys can reach me on Instagram, lindsay.dfw, or you can call me at 817-247-7181. You can text me. I have my phone at all hours. Don't feel like if at 1 o'clock you're like, hey, I might want to text me. I'll answer.
You probably will, y'all. And she's a freaking baddie and a go-getter. So if you need leadership questions, do that. If you're a buyer that's on the sidelines, especially for our females, Lindsay is the one that's going to be able to help walk you through this journey. As you can see, it's an easier process if you have someone like Lindsay beside you to walk with you. So I am so glad you came on today. Technology sucks. But this is another amazing, epic podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Glenda White. And until next time, you guys, be amazing, be epic, and go be a badass.